Hey everybody, welcome back to Doc G's Reloading. Today we're going to look at this Armanov uh, loaded round counter. So this is from Armanov. I'll put a link to it in the description so everybody can see it. And it's a optic counter, so it counts them as they fall off your ramp. This is the unit here, and this is my XL750, and it attaches here. Just loosen up that bolt, slide this little metal tab in. It also shows a plastic clamp that goes across here and connects, but I didn't get that in my package. I just got this little angled piece of metal here. So anyway, that hooks into there, hooks into the side and you can adjust, the tilt if you need to. I'm not going to go through all the software sub panels. You can do that on their website. But anyway, this shows here that I'm loading 223 Remington, since that's the one I put under my profiles. You can put in any caliber you want in there. This is batch 1, which is 250 rounds. Oh, I'm sorry, it says 100 there, so I must have left it at 100. Usually I set it at 250. Tells you how many rounds per hour you're doing, so the faster you go, the faster that'll show. And then I've done 40 of those 100 rounds already, so that's that there. Now, it also does come with a skylight option, but since I already had mine through inline fabrication, I didn't want to use this, so I emailed them and asked them, and they said, nope, you don't have to plug it in. You don't have to use it. It'll still work as long as you plug in the sensor. So the sensor's plugged into the side there. And then if we come around here, you can see this piece here. This is what hooks on to your ramp. So this piece of plastic here hooks onto your ramp. There's an eye over here. So as it falls past this, the ammo triggers this eye. And you can see here where I've got the wire. This is the wire here. They give you the mounts and the zip ties. Mounted it there. It comes up here and then goes in the back. And then the 9-volt just comes back down here. This is the 9-volt cable that it connects to. And it works really well. I'll give them that. We'll reload some here, and you can see. So as I go, it'll tell you how many, and it tells you how many per hour you're doing. So you can see there it says 1277 per hour, which obviously is a little high. You can't keep that up because eventually you have to reload primers and everything. But it gives you some idea of how fast you're going. And haven't had any trouble with it reading the rounds as they slide off. So as they go through, and they do give you this little cover here too. So there's this little cover, and what this does is, they didn't tell me in the instructions. I kind of had to figure this out on my own. But this will snap on here, and what it does is it makes sure that the round falls flat down. So if you're having trouble, you can put this on. It'll snap on there, and then as the round comes, it'll hit that little shade thing here, or whatever you want to call it, shield. It'll hit this little shield, and it'll drop it so that it makes sure it goes by the eye. Again, I haven't had any trouble with it. All I've loaded is 223. I have not loaded 9 or 40 yet. I don't imagine 9 or 40 would be any problem either. If anything, the 223 might be a problem if they went down vertically, but I've not had an issue at all. So I've done a couple 100 rounds with it. Now, the only problem that I had with it is you kind of have to leave it on until you're done with your batch. Okay, it does keep track of your overall rounds that you've loaded. So that shows me, 40 Smith & Wesson. I haven't loaded any. That shows me, that shows me 9mm. I haven't loaded any there. And that shows me 223 Remington. I've loaded 45 rounds. Now that keeps track of how many rounds I've loaded. And I've been loading for 20 minutes to get to the 45. Although I don't know if that's super accurate. But anyway, it allows you to reset some of this data too. And then it does keep track of your total rounds. So whether you shut the equipment off or not with this little button up here, here's your power button. So if you shut that off, it will still keep track of your total rounds. And then you can set it in, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, however many thousand rounds, up to 10,000 rounds, that you want to set that to warn you that you need to do maintenance on your machine. So it'll give you an audible warning that says, you know, you've reached the 5,000. I usually set mine at 5,000. Says, you know, you've reached the 5,000 limit. You know, and then you can reset that and then do your maintenance on your machine, so you remember to do that. So there are some things that are resettable. It's a nice color screen. It's easy to read, good size. The only caveat to it is if you shut this off with that switch, or if you shut it off at the wall, then if you're in batch, whatever batch you're in, like batch 1 here, you know, number of rounds, that'll still say whatever you set, but this 45 will be 0 again. So if I'm loading 250 rounds and it takes me 4 or 5 days to get there, because I'm just doing it when I kind of come down the basement, I need to leave this on in order until I get to 250, and then it gives me, and then you can set also how many rounds before you get to that 250 is it going to warn you that you're coming to the end. So I set it usually at 5, because that way I can clear the shell plate if I need to, if I'm going to go to a different caliber. But anyway, so if you shut it off, that 45 drops to 0, so you lose count. You don't lose the overall count, but you lose the count on that batch that you're doing. So whatever batch you're doing, you need to leave the machine on until you're done with that batch, you know, and then you can shut it off after that. It's the only thing I kind of didn't like about it. I kind of wish if I shut it off and turn it back on, it should come right back onto this screen that I had before, but it doesn't. So now I just leave it on and I make sure that it's not plugged in, because what I do with my lights here is my lights and everything else are on this little you know, power strip there, and then I shut off the lights, and then I usually just head upstairs, because I may come down and I may only do 25, 30 rounds at a time, or maybe 100 rounds at a time. So now you just need to leave this on until you're done with whatever batch you're doing, and then once you're done with that batch, if you're not reloading anymore, you can just shut it off then. But I wish it had a backup battery on board, or some way of keeping track of this. So anyway, that's the only problem with it. Other than that, 223, I've had no problem. It's counted every single round that's gone by it. I've done approximately 300 rounds so far, and had no issues with it. I do like that it's optic. It is nice. It counts them as they come down the ramp. So those are finished rounds. I did have that one made by Lee up here that was the plunger, mechanical plunger that would keep track of rounds. I took that one off for now because I'm just going to be using this one. And I may end up putting that one back on. I don't know. But I just wish you could shut this off and still have it keep track. But anyway, that's the Armanov reloading round counter, digital round counter. Thanks again for watching Doc G's Reloading.